Hello, everyone, and welcome to AV Plus, your weekly source of AV integration news. My name is Jonathan Blackwood, Editorial Director of Commercial Integrator, and this is the news for the week of May 21st, 2021. First, some sad news as New Era Technologies' John Greene has passed away. Greene passed on May 13th, surrounded at home by family. A longtime member of the AV industry, thoughts and prayers have been pouring in from across the industry, with a common thread being his sense of humor, his unrelenting support for colleagues and friends, and his advice and mentorship for many he worked with. He will be missed greatly by the industry. For more on John Greene, here's Commercial Integrator Executive Editor Craig McCormick.
Thanks, Jonathan. There was no one out there like John Greene. No one in AV could compare to him. There was no mistaking when John Greene was in the room or heading towards the room. You could hear that laugh from a mile away. John Greene died on May 13th after a lengthy battle with cancer, and you can only imagine that he died with a smile on his face, surrounded by his family. He was an infectious person, somebody that loved AV, loved everybody in AV, was trying to support the entire industry in so many ways. He was a volunteer on many levels. He left his mark in his 63 years on this earth, and he'll never be forgotten. The tributes poured in for John Greene all this week, first from industry friends, then from his colleagues at New Era Technology. John Greene will be laid to rest on Saturday, and he certainly won't be forgotten by anyone in this industry who's met him, and anyone who didn't meet him, certainly their life was a little bit less for not having met him. It's becoming a little disappointing to have to write about and talk about losing a couple of industry friends in the last couple of months. First, it was Michael Shin, who also died from cancer, and now John Greene. Certainly the AV industry now has a lot less personality in it because of those two losses, and two of its biggest advocates are now up in heaven talking about all the ways that they worked to improve the AV industry, and probably watching as the people who they mentored, the people who they talked to, the people who they affected are making this AV industry a better place. Back to you.
Thank you, Craig. And from all of us here at Commercial Integrator, our thoughts go out to John Greene's family and friends. Now for today's headlines. First up, Poly has released a new Voyager Focus 2 headset. The headset was built for the hybrid workforce, as it features noise cancellation and acoustic fence technology to help employees concentrate on their work and block out noise in the office or at home. It combines Poly's acoustic fence technology with advanced digital hybrid active noise cancellation to build what the company calls the closest thing to a virtual sound wall. Toshiba's business unit was hit by a cyber attack. The company on Friday released a statement on its website confirming that Toshiba Tech Group companies suffered a cyber attack. According to the news reports, the ransomware gang that has been blamed for the attack on the Colonial Pipeline is involved. After discovering the attack, the company reported it to European authorities and took other actions to limit the damage and, quote, stop the networks and systems operating between Japan and Europe, as well as those operating among European subsidiaries, while mitigating and backing up data. AV employment has shown signs of growth. According to the Avixa Pro AV Business Index, AV employment showed its first signs of meaningful growth in April 2021, jumping from 51.8 in March to 57.2 in April as integrators start to sense a return to more steady work. We finally saw some real acceleration, says Peter Henson, Avixa's economic analyst. It represents real growth, a more meaningful bump above 50. It's a number in line with the employment growth numbers we were seeing before the pandemic. RingCentral and Verizon have partnered on a new UC as a service solution. The companies will develop a co-branded service called RingCentral with Verizon, which the companies call a seamlessly integrated UC as a service solution for the enterprise. Verizon says the offer is a key component in the company's network as a service strategy for businesses, which includes 5G, mobile edge computing, SD-WAN, and security. The partnership provides a secure, cloud-based UC as a service platform to help businesses adapt to hybrid work. LG has released Pro-centric Katina for display management. The new solution operates on LG's Pro-centric smart televisions and provides a browser-based user interface to enable controlling of multiple commercial displays by staff using phones or tablets. It also features a web app that allows patrons to select from the available live TV broadcasting and listen to the audio on their own smartphones. The US Navy and Air Force have selected RGB spectrum equipment for networked video. The branches of the US Armed Forces have selected RGB Spectrum's new ZO2 solution for networked video. The Navy will utilize the solution for shipboard networked video applications, while the Air Force will use ZO2 for advanced fighter simulation applications. Logitech has released the Scribe AI-powered whiteboard camera. Scribe works with video conferencing services like Microsoft Teams and Zoom to broadcast non-digital whiteboard content into video meetings. The wall-mounted camera features enhanced integrations with rooms built around either platform. It allows in-room participants to share whiteboard content in video meetings by pressing a wireless button or by tapping a meeting room touch controller like Logitech Tap. Qsc Communities for Developers is now live. The new platform empowers developers to connect and share knowledge with the support of Qsc experts and partners. It enables an engaged and scalable technical community of professionals and organizations to come together to collaborate and create. Says Greg Matson, product manager for Qsys Control at Qsc, we look to create a modern development platform where AV and IT users can come together in an authentic way, learn from each other, and speak freely with Qsc experts. Finally, 6 ransomware gangs have stolen more than $45 million this year to date. According to a new report from cybersecurity company eSentire, 2021 has been a goldmine for ransomware operators as 6 ransomware gangs have claimed more than 290 new victims in 2021 for potential gains of up to $45 million. For more, here is Commercial Integrator editor, Zach Como.
Thanks, Jonathan. Today, I want to talk about something that I've actually been talking about for a while now when it comes to Pro AV, and that's cybersecurity. This is especially relevant now as the IT and cybersecurity community struggle to combat these large-scale nation-state attacks and massive ransomware operations, like the one that crippled the Colonial Pipeline and caused gas prices to skyrocket. If you've been paying attention to the news recently, then you've seen headlines about SolarWinds, Microsoft Exchange Server, and ransomware crippling municipal networks and critical infrastructure, and a host of other cyber attacks that are causing businesses to shut down the networks and pay to mitigate the after effects of an attack. Can you imagine what would happen to your integration business if you were the victim of a cyber attack? What would you do if your files were encrypted? What kind of sensitive data about your customers could bad actors exploit? Could a compromise of your network lead to a compromise of your customers' networks? And would you be able to pay the ransom? Or do you have adequate defenses to prevent compromise in the first place? Fortunately, there are many things you can do to prevent your network, data, and your customers, including backing up critical files, requiring multi-factor authentication where possible, restricting access and implementing zero trust protocol, network segmentation, disabling remote desktop protocol, regularly patching systems, and finally, regular end trainings to ensure that everyone knows how to spot a phishing attempt. So please take the security of your integration firm's networks serious. Back to you, Jonathan.
Thank you, Zach. Today's AV Plus guest is Joel Hall of Leon Speakers. Joel joins us to talk more about the company as well as what Leon Speakers can provide for integrators. But first, here's what's going on around Commercial Integrator this week. Our profile of CTSI will be released Monday, and we'll dive into how the company has found success throughout COVID-19 as a result of its prior commitment to managed services. Our recap of a recent CI and NSCA webinar delves into legislation that could affect the integration industry. Any integrator would do well to check it out and see what laws might change things for our industry moving forward. Coming up on May 26th, Herman is sponsoring a CI webinar discussing the classroom of the future. HETMA Chair Joe Way, also the technology manager at USC, will be on to discuss how education technology has and will continue to change. Sign up on commercialintegrator.com under the resources tab. All right, we now welcome on Joel Hall onto the AV Plus podcast. Joel is from Leon Speakers. Joel, thank you so much for joining us. Could you tell us a little bit about Leon Speakers and your role with the company?
Yeah, Jonathan, first of all, thanks for having me on today. This is truly an honor, just a really cool thing. My role is the Senior Sales Development Manager on the commercial side of the business. I've been with Leon now for 4 years. And man, it's just such a fun and different place to work. I say this all of the time. There is no place like Leon, and the products that we create are just second to none. So really honored to be here and excited to talk with you today.
Well, certainly an exciting time right now. You know, the last year and a half has obviously been difficult for a lot of different companies, integrators and their customers alike. But it seems like a lot of companies are returning to the workplace right now. And over at Leon Speakers, you guys are really getting a keen view into the type of technology that's going into these workplaces as they maybe switch to hybrid models or learn how they're going to collaborate more effectively and really learn from the lessons that they've learned from the last year and a half. So what trends are you seeing in terms of technology adoption as employees begin to return to the workplace?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think on a very macro level, you're really seeing people adopt and embrace technology for kind of the first time, like even in our industry. Prior to COVID, the only place that you really saw a camera, a microphone, and speakers was a boardroom. But now it's absolute necessity for every single person to have their own. And especially, that coincides with the uptick in remote work, obviously, but I think on the company side, they're being tasked with creating even more spaces for people to work when they do come back to the office, whether that's more huddle rooms, general meeting spaces, conference rooms, et cetera. They have to have more. And that's really to keep up with social distancing efforts. So it's very interesting for sure right now.
Yeah, and in terms of those end customers, right now, they're making decisions about whether they're going to have mostly remote employees, whether it's going to be hybrid, whether employees are going to come back in. And on top of that, they're making decisions about how different employees in different departments are going to be working together. And that all fits into what technology they're going to put in. So technology is really becoming more a piece of business strategy than ever before. And for integrators, why is it so important for them to ensure that they're customizing solutions for every one of their clients versus, creating an out of the box kind of cookie cutter solution that can be applied in any given business?
Yeah, so I think end users want all of the benefits that technology can provide, but they don't want to see the technology. This is a bit of a conundrum and can create some problems, as you would imagine. And the reason for that is because you can't oftentimes accomplish that type of work with off-the-shelf products. And this is where a company like Leon, for example, really thrives. We're well-versed in weird, we're well-versed in wacky, and we really try our best to bring that designer's eye to technology in an effort to help our clients bring their design vision to life. And we do this through a very unique palette of products that we have. Everything's built to order. It's made in the USA. And we try to leave no stone unturned when it comes to helping integrators and consultants design for a client.
Yeah, and something else that we discussed for a bit, before we hopped on here, but it's not just for the C-suite, and it's not just for the most advanced room that these customized approaches should be taken. It's really any space. Would you agree?
Oh, 100%. I think the word custom oftentimes has a negative connotation. That's because people associate it with expensive, long lead times. It's taking forever to get this thing. But a good example of how Leon contradicts that is our custom built to match soundbar. This is something that we've been doing for over 20 years. We build these things to the exact specification of the TV. So whether it's the exact width or height, our soundbars can be built within 3 to 5 business days, and we can ship them anywhere in the world. So yes, it's custom, but it doesn't have to take forever, and it doesn't have to be expensive either. We have a ton of different materials that you can work with, performance differences in drivers. So I mean, there's there's a lot of ways around it. And I don't think that a lot of people necessarily know, or maybe they're afraid or timid to kind of dig in and learn more, but that's why I'm here. So yeah.
And what spaces specifically are you seeing this kind of technology being implemented?
Yeah, I think Leon is for everyone, and it can go absolutely anywhere. Whether it's us creating, a one-off frame for a video wall, or it's helping an enterprise level client create a list of global standards for their respective business, we're all over the place. So, I just think that I would encourage people to reach out to me, reach out to, if you're on the commercial side, reach out to me. If you're on the residential side, reach out to one of our inside sales representatives to learn more about how you can incorporate Leon into your project.
Yeah, and for a little bit of context, head over to the website. You guys, I think you have products over there, you have case studies, you have a little bit of blogs and information about how to best use the technology too.
Yeah, we do. So leonspeakers.com is the website. We actually are launching a brand new website this June, where you'll be able to actually put together quotes, which is really great for our integrators. I think, going back to the custom side, that can be a bit of an undertaking in some capacity. But with that website, there's a tool where you can literally kind of piecemeal a system together and it'll spit out a quote. So that's really good for those guys. And I'm excited to see that come to life. But yes, we also have a full gallery of install images. There is a blog that we try to update. I believe it's once a month. And then the YouTube channel is huge. We spent a lot of time last year and the year before actually creating a beautiful suite of videos, whether it's install videos or even shots from the Leon Loft. I didn't really talk about that, but Leon has an in-house music venue called the Leon Loft, where we have artists from all around the world come and play. So you can find all of that stuff on the YouTube channel. And I think just search Leon Speakers, it should pop up.
Well, I definitely encourage anyone to check that out. I know like 90% of integrators came from the music industry to start out anyway, so I know they'll be excited to see that. But check it out for the great speakers that Leon has, and to find out about the service that they can help integrators out with too. Joel Hall of Leon Speakers, thank you so much for joining us here on AV Plus and giving us a little insight into your company and some trends that you guys are seeing.
Thanks, Jonathan. Really appreciate it.
That's it for this week's episode of AV Plus for the week of May 21st, 2021. A reminder to all listeners that the full stories we've detailed today can be found at commercialintegrator.com. Please do remember to subscribe to AV Plus and get your weekly roundup of news in the AV industry. I'm Jonathan Blackwood, host of AV Plus. Thank you for listening.